Players are quitting because we got no endgame. What do we do?
We make leveling slower.
We make mid-game slower.
We add endgame?
Our prayers have been answered. We now have endgame in Diablo 4. The endgame being getting to the endgame that does not exist. Beautiful loop, ain't it? On a serious note though, I blasted the living shit out of the Season 8 PTR, testing leveling, all the endgame activities, builds, and whatever the hell else we have in this game, and seeing as this season is looking to be a controversial one, here I am to share my thoughts. And to make it easier for you brain-dead boomers to follow along, I've divided the video into 3 parts: leveling, endgame, and the seasonal content, which will cover all of it after a quick word from today's sponsor, Instant Gaming. And you're stupid as shit if you decide to skip ahead, because I can assure you that this website will benefit you. First off, what is Instant Gaming? Well, damn, it's a website where you can purchase games. Simple as that. But due to them having direct access to authorized resellers, they're able to provide you with massive discounts on their games. But that's not the only reason I'm buying all of my games from this website, because they are one of a few websites that are 100% trustworthy. Here you get a 4.7 on Trustpilot along with 24/7 customer support. And when it comes to the discounts, let's assume you haven't bought Path of Exile yet. Well, then you're getting half the price buying it here. And what about the D4 expansion and skins? Well, again, You're dumb as shit to buy it elsewhere, as you'll get it cheaper here. And in case you're looking for something new, you can check out trending, pre-orders, or upcoming, and just sort for your console of choice. PC, that is. Personally, I want to give Monster Hunter Wilds a try. And will you look at that, a massive discount. So make sure to use my link in the description and check it out. You'll thank me later. So leveling in Season 8, huh? It's supposedly slow as shit and people are not here for it. But is it really? Nah, man. The average time to get to level 60 in Season 6 was around 16 hours or so, which is quite long. In Season 7, around 9 hours. Or if you're a pumper, 3 or 4 hours. And in Season 8, well, take Season 7 and slap an hour or 2 onto what it took you to level then. Meaning, leveling taking longer is nothing you need to worry about. Despite that, though, I still think that the changes to leveling are dumb. But not at all due to it being slower, rather due to leveling being fundamentally useless. And why is that useless, Mr. Para Big D Senpai? Well, shit. Tell me one thing you do while leveling that will benefit you in the endgame. I'll wait. Yeah, I personally think that slower leveling is good for the game as long as it's fun and meaningful. Mainly because if it's too fast with legendaries raining from the sky like dicks on Bonnie Blue, then all the newbies will get overwhelmed. But it's not meaningful, so there's that. The biggest issue to me in the new season is that without legendaries, you're not getting any aspects. And without any aspects, you can't create any builds. While leveling up in Season 7, you could collect these as you were leveling up and progress your character to some extent, making you ready for the endgame. On top of that, you had the witch powers to level up. In Season 8, you too have the powers to level up as you go, the boss powers that is. But the currency to make meaningful progress here is just way too slow, and you can only obtain the shitty powers while leveling up anyways. So as it currently stands, you'll completely ignore the seasonal mechanics until you're in Torment level difficulty. And if we go back even further to Season 6, we had a buttload of progression to do while leveling up. We had to get our mercenaries, renown, complete the campaign, and so forth. In Season 8, there's just nothing, which is my biggest issue with leveling as it currently stands. And the solution? Well, shit. Legendaries should be a bit easier to obtain while leveling. We don't need to have legendaries raining from the sky, but due to most of a build being built around aspects, and those aspects existing on legendaries, leveling without them is boring. And try telling me to go farm them in dungeons, I dare you. Now, the most important part that needs buffing, however, is that of the new Hell Tides, which I guess we call green Hell Tides now, or rather incursions. These needs to get giga-juiced because they're boring as shit. And circling back to the legendary drop rate, the fact that legendaries are more scarce in Season 8 does not change the fact that blue and rare items are still fucking useless. Sure, they're a bit less useless when there are no legendaries dropping, but it's not like I get excited when a rare item drops. And the removal of legendaries to focus on magic and rare items feels like a band-aid solution to justify the existence of rare and blue items. To make them non-useless, we'd need a proper system in place for them. So what is my judgment on the leveling experience in Season 8? The same as previous season, just slower and useless. The leveling changes probably won't affect me much. I'll just buy a second account and boost myself. But for anyone that actually enjoys leveling alts, it's sure going to suck running around doing Hell Tides with the same 2 skills, picking up rare items for 10 hours, or doing the campaign again, as that is currently the fastest way to level. Alright, let's leave leveling and start discussing Endgame. In case you've missed it, Endgame is way more difficult in Season 8. Torment 4 is the equivalent of a tier 76 pit from the previous season, and the Uber bosses are less of a walkover now. Before we discuss this, let's put these changes into perspective. In Season 7, half of the player base reached Torment 4, meaning anyone that actually played the game ended up farming Torment 4. And seeing how fucking brain-dead the average D4 player is, that's pretty impressive, I must say. The goal of the DVs are 10% of the player base to reach Torment 4, and with the new changes, this is probably likely to happen. And is this a bad thing? Well, I'm a bit conflicted here, as it depends. For the dogshit newbies, in what way will this change impact them? They will go to Torment 3 instead of Torment 4 and farm there. I bet this is fine, as long as Blizz don't lock the seasonal journey behind Torment 4 content. These players won't farm tier 100 pits or max out their gear out anyways, so who gives a shit? They'll simply have a bit more to do, which is alright. And the pumpers? How will this impact those players? It won't really. They're all playing a meta build and will be one-shotting Torment 4 in just a few extra hours. And playing the absolute top builds, I was one-shotting all the Uber bosses and clearing pit 100 no problemo, despite not abusing the overpowered powers. So as long as you're a pumper and play the best builds, you will barely be affected by the changes. Hell, these changes may actually make the game more enjoyable for you. So the only people that are actually affected by these changes are the dad gamers that want to get good but can't and are playing some kind of off-meta build. And these poor bastards are screwed, because off-meta builds are basically dead unless you want to be hard stuck in Torment 3. To farm in Torment 4, you'll need an S or A tier build most likely, and there's not a chance in hell you're getting your glyphs maxed out or reaching Paragon 300 in a season. You need to play the top builds of the season to do that. And personally, I think that sucks, as playing fun and wanky off-meta builds is the most fun part of the game currently, mainly due to there not existing any fun and repeatable endgame activity in the game, which, by the way, it still doesn't in my opinion. Which brings me on to the next topic, the seasonal content. In case you've missed what the hell Season 8 is about, it's about these powers. You're running green Hell Tides to collect essence, which you'll use to upgrade your powers, which is basically the same as we did in Season 7, and Season 3, and Season 2, and Season 1. Now, I'll obviously play the new season, but to be honest, the seasonal updates feels lazy. Either Blizz is saving all the good stuff for the expansion to make bank, or they need to grow some balls. Changing the mid-game content, or in other words, the torment progression to make it more difficult, is simply another band-aid solution to keep us playing longer with the lack of actual endgame content. So how about instead of doing a 180 each season when it comes to progression and difficulty, we actually start creating some content? At this point, the game has such huge potential to build upon. The Pit, the Dark Citadel, Hordes, Nightmare Dungeons, Hell Tides, and the Undercity, and then the entirety of the open world. There's just so much shit we can build upon. So instead of recycling the same bullshit mechanics, how about just grabbing the Nightmare Dungeons and start expanding on those as an example? This will not only make people come back to test out the new stuff, but it will also make the game better in the long run. Sure, we're getting some boss ladder updates for Season 8, but in terms of fun, additional content that makes people come back for a new season, there's nothing there. Because what you need to understand, the only actual endgame activity we have that is repeatable with a high difficulty is the Pit. And pushing in the Pit is so incredibly boring that there are only a handful of players that can actually do it. On top of that, you're not being rewarded at all from pushing, as there are no achievements, cosmetics, leaderboards, or anything of that sort. Hell, you're not even getting experience, or better loot doing it. Now, leaving the Pit and circling back to the boss powers a bit, these pose a bit of a problem in Season 8, because the powers that deal damage are so goddamn powerful it makes all regular builds trash in comparison. And it's an interesting problem because the powers are actually cool and fun to use, and if we gut them, no one will use them. But if we don't gut them before the season launches, then there will be no incentive to play an actual build. Rather, you just grab a boss power, pick generic multipliers, and scale the power. So, the solution? Well, the powers obviously needs to get tuned, but deciding how much they need to get nerfed will be quite difficult. I'm just hoping they don't get absolutely destroyed, because if they do, then we lose the main thing, making the new season interesting. So my suggestion here is to nerf them, but don't nerf them too hard. Go copy-paste some of the builds that emerged during the PTR, test them, and nerf them down to a reasonable level, and we should be good to go. Alright, there are a bunch of other stuff I need added in the game, such as a loot filter, completely reworking the enchanter guy, and more, but that's a topic for another video. Instead, here's a quick TLDR to summarize my thoughts of Season 8. Overall, I may seem like a pessimistic piece of shit, but that's not only because I am, but because I want the game not to suck ass. So, Season 8. It's slower, for no real reason other than making you play longer. The seasonal powers are cool, but they're broken, and they're an iteration of the previous seasons, and we could use something new for Season 9. In any way, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one, Kings.